day 3. Exciting. Gosh, I can't imagine how it's going to be as we go on to so many days on this. But here we are again. We'll keep it going. Today was a day of craziness, introspection, all sorts of good stuff. In the process of buying a home right now, condo, and went down to go visit the site and found some issues with it. The question always comes to stay or to stick with it, if the issue's bad enough, or to go on and do something else. We're in interesting times now where housing is everything, and it's so expensive, and these are big decisions in life. So, yeah, that's the issue. And I think everything is going to have its own pros and cons to it. It's hard to weigh what's the correct answer, but I think that's everything in life. We have to trust that life is going to do the right thing for us, that we're going to be able to grow in the way we need to grow, experience the things we need to experience, regardless of what the circumstance is. So if we have difficulties in front of us, it's the difficulties that let us grow, right? So the challenge is we have to go through them and be fearless with them as we go through them. There's no other reason to do such things. Is this recording off the correct thing? I guess it is. Oh, maybe it's because it's on super light. Oh, look at that. I wonder how that sounds. All right. So we have to do those things in life. We have to go through the challenging times to get the good times. And they'll go back and forth. Life is always the roller coaster, the sine wave, or whatever waves it is, the ones that go up and down. And we can never stay on one side of the wave. We always have to go back down to the other side of the wave and continue doing this repetition of ups and downs and ups and downs and ups and downs. And sometimes they happen at the same time. Sometimes good things and bad things happen simultaneously. But that's the most important part, and I think we all know this, that we have to have that dichotomy of the good and the bad. Otherwise, life wouldn't be very interesting. We wouldn't really be able to grow if we didn't have this constant change. And so, like myself and everybody, we have to take risks in life and do things that we're not sure of what the outcomes are going to be. And that's the nature of it. That's the fun of it. We take a lot of risks, and we make mistakes, and we struggle, and we succeed sometimes. But that's all. That's the good part. How do we know if a decision is right or not? We don't. Sometimes we can make an educated guess based on their past experiences, but sometimes we're just throwing dice in the wind and hoping for the best outcome. Predicting the future is a very difficult game. I think what I'm focused on for the next little while here, in addition to what I mentioned I think it was on the first episode of reducing negative thinking, is also staying away from the news and from like just general YouTube stuff. Turns out the news doesn't make me very happy, and the news is also very coded in despair often, and it helps. Our mind really latches on to the things that our environment is showing us, and so we want to think that we're immune to that, but most of the times we're not. So if the internet is typically going to be showing us drama and bad things that are going on in the world, that's going to train our minds into thinking that we're surrounding ourselves with this environment of all this negative stuff coming, and that's our mind holding on to negativity. Like it's ingesting a lot of negativity, and it's going to repeat what it ingests. I'm sure you've listened to music before, and songs get stuck in your head without you wanting it to be there, right? And that's our environment. Like music is our environment. And so if it's a catchy song, we're not too bothered by it. We're like, yeah, it's good. But if it's not a catchy song, or if it's something we don't like, it's really bothersome to keep in our minds. And sometimes it's hard for us to get it out. But the same goes for the news and for these despairing stories where we listen to them and we subconsciously will take that environment and make it ours. So we'll think that, it'll tend to make us more negative. That's not to say we have to ignore it all the time. Sometimes it's important to read the news and know what's going on in the world. But too much is bad, right? Like too much anything. Like just a few French fries ain't gonna hurt you. If you eat French fries breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you're probably gonna have some really funky dreams at night. That's the way it goes. But yeah, that's something I was thinking about today. I wonder if this works. If I show this here, so can I do this mid? Let's see. So I saw this guy on the way to the beach today. This little cat, he's just chilling out on the side of the road. He's a good boy. Yeah, just wanted to show that. The cat was at the ocean. That was pretty fun. I wonder if there's other things as well. Yeah, check this out. So we were it's in Oregon, going to the coast, and got this cool scenery here of driving out to the ocean. It was a little snowy on the ground, and it was just a really quaint scene to snap a photo of. And then the last one is this place called Cannon Beach out in Oregon that I visited here. It's got this cool rock formation. Usually, however, remember the tides come in and cover most of the bottom of this in water, so you can't walk up to it. But today, it was the tide was out far enough where you could go onto the rock here and check it out. Enormous things. You can see that these are the people here for scale. Enormous rocks. Really, really cool. Something to check out in Oregon if you're ever in the area. But that was fun. Yeah, it was always fun to adventure out. But, the cat has, I'm sure, less concerns than I have about the world and all sorts of things, but that's the nature of it. It's a time for change. It's a really interesting time for change. And we'll see as life goes on, as I'm sure so many things have changed. Like, the idea of us being the same person throughout life doesn't seem very reasonable to me. The person who I was at 10 and 12 and 16 and 18 and 21 and 29 and 30 are all very different from who I am today. There's a different level of maturity, a different level of immaturity, and yeah, I'm not going to say which one goes up or down, but there's a constant change. The body changes, it looks different sometimes. The thoughts change, the process change. Sometimes there's more anxiety, sometimes there's less anxiety. The mannerisms change. Relationships with other people change. And so when we ask if we're asking about our outward self, I think that self changes very, very often and is just a very different human being over time. I've noticed that even a lot of my friends, I have one friend in particular who's getting up there in age. He's like 74 right now, something like that. And he focuses really intensely on uplifting his own happiness and doing everything that he can to be this joy. And I've seen him grow through it. Even like I've known him for maybe I don't know, 7, 8 years or so, and I've seen that joy come in through him as he's grown. And even in that age, you can grow at any time. There's no end of it. You grow all the time. That's life. It's constantly changing. But one of his focuses was to bring out more joy of himself and live a more happy and joyous life. And he takes that to heart, and he does a really good job with it. He's very supportive and caring and loving about everyone. He listens, he pays attention, and he's been focusing on doing that for so long. But that's all of us. We're all growing. We're learning, we're taking our baby steps and developing and becoming something bigger. Hopefully something bigger. Sometimes we go backwards a little bit, but we don't go backwards for too long, usually. But money is also something I found that is very concerning for humans. Money seems to be a big source of stress on everything in life, like having the right amount of money. Too much or too little all causes us a significant amount of stress in life. Usually too little. Too much money sometimes causes stress, but not so much. A different kind of stress. So what do we do about that? Maybe that'd be a topic for another day. Yeah. But anyway, there's day 3. As always, I'm going to post a picture as the thumbnail. I think today we're doing the cat. It was a good... I'm going to try and take a picture every day and make that thumbnail and just see what life's adventure does. But that's what we got for today. Anyway, until tomorrow. See you later.